They called him the Diesel.
Crank up that diesel. Let's go.
He leaned across the table and he goes, "You need to get me back there. I'll make you famous."
And to Riggins, good hold. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The 35, the 30, the 20. He's gone. He's gone.
It's Riggo, the Diesel.
Hello and welcome to episode 58, or if you count in a different way, season 2, episode 19 of Riggo the Diesel. I am John Riggins. I am Riggo. Larry Michael's the voice of the Washington Redskins with me. Joe Gibbs has been saying that for so long. I've been listening to it for so long that I leaned across the table and said, "You need to get me back there. I'll make you famous." I'm starting to get to that point where I'm sure I didn't say it, but I'm starting to have doubt. I'm starting to think, maybe I did say it.
I think that was the story where you came to the beer.
Yeah. That's definitely when it happened.
Joe has recounted that story, and he talked about how he didn't have the one beer. You have confirmed that you drank both the beers.
Yes, I did.
And then you sat down and
shamelessly.
Maybe you had a couple beers, then maybe you had a couple more because you can't just have two. And maybe that was cause for you to say, "I'll make you famous."
It's possible. Like I said, I hear it often enough now. I'm going, well, maybe. You ever get one of those deals where you can't remember something? And
it's happening more every day, man.
And you're getting kind of in that, I don't remember doing that, but I guess maybe I did. Somebody's telling me, oh, somebody at the party, you'll get a kick out of this. You weren't there. I don't think you were there. Told me years ago up in training camp that we were doing special teams. And Mosley, Mark was kicking field goals. And I went up and just stood in front of him and blocked the field goal with just my chest. And I said, that couldn't have been me. I wouldn't. Oh, no, I saw it. I'm going, sometimes you get to the point where you got to go, okay, well, maybe I did, but I'm thinking that wouldn't be like me. That would hurt.
That would hurt a lot.
I'm not a guy that was into pain.
Blank.
I try to avoid it. I mean, my running style, you'd think that I was out there to hurt, but I wasn't. I was trying to get away.
With that square-toed shoe, with those 20 pairs of socks that he'd wear, and all that tape he'd have.
But the ball, can you imagine
right
getting hit
in the chest? I don't think you do that.
And, like I said, what if Mose kicks a little low? It gets even worse.
Yeah, I know. Those soccer guys stand that way, though, They stand
just for that reason.
For protection, for protective purposes.
Now you bring it up, I've noticed that.
Yeah, they do that, but I cannot imagine El Riggo standing there point blank taking a Mosley kick.
I wasn't on special teams. It would have had to have been a prank. I don't remember doing a prank on Mose. That wouldn't have turned out very well. That ain't the kind of prank I'd have done on Mose.
Maybe you're wearing one of those umpire vests.
I'd have had to been, but they didn't have one of those. Anyway, how's it going?
It's going good. Christmas is upon us, and the Redskins have one game left, and it might be fun just to talk about what we would like to find under our tree for a Redskins Christmas. I think. What do you think?
Well, you've already indicated that, and I think it's quite possible, actually, and I think it'll be an interesting deal. First of all, though, I need to know the condition of number 7.
Yeah.
What's his prognosis, you think, for this weekend? He going to be able to play or not play?
My money is on him playing. There was nothing, I don't, but you never know.
Structurally wrong with his ankle.
So much
it is his ankle, right?
It's his ankle, and so much has been said about his comments at the podium. And you know what? I'm not freaked out about what he said. I mean, the owner here always checks out the injured players. He's been doing that for years. And obviously, he's not reading the x-ray. He is not the doctor in the house. And he advised Dwayne to listen to the doctor. And you know what? I got an email to Redskins Nation today, and they said they should have done that last time he sprained his ankle. Why let him go back in there for a meaningless game when you've got 3 wins? You're not going to the playoffs. He is your future. He has been improving. Why would you put him back there with an injured ankle? So I'm not freaked out about all that, but I don't know his status in the next week. I thought Case Keenum, man, that's a pro quarterback there to come in there like that, John. That was impressive.
Yeah. I thought the same thing, where they didn't skip a beat, really. And he had them in a position to where it's weird, isn't it, how they've had 2 games now. Of course, I guess I'm trying to think. I go to Miami. There seems like there's one other game, though, that it came down something very similar to this. But I guess it was the Miami game where it could have went either way. And
they went for 2.
Yeah,
Miami went for 2.
And then when you start second guessing yourself, you start going, they should have went for 2.
Yeah, I thought so.
But this all got down to the coin toss.
Yes,
I think.
Yes, but would you have gone for 2?
Huh?
Knowing you didn't stop Barkley all day, would you have gone for 2 after that Case Keenum touchdown? Win it, lose it. we're not going to lose it with our defense on the field. If we lose it with our offense on the field going for 2. What would you have done?
I think that the going for 2.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, only Bill Callahan can explain why he decided to go ahead and kick the extra point. You go for 2. I mean, in a lot of ways, this is not unlike a preseason game because they're in the standings. It really doesn't mean anything.
Right.
I guess you can look at it from the standpoint, okay, we're talking about draft position and all that stuff. Okay, I get that, but for the most part, if you know one way or the other, the game ends after 60 minutes. I mean, you continue the game, then all of a sudden you avail people to more injury, risk of injury. So that's probably what I'd have done. But either way you went, I mean, it certainly it wasn't that big of a deal one way or the other. Because if you would have gotten the ball, I mean, really you're guessing on, well, maybe we'll get the ball back right away, and if we do, we'll go down and score a touchdown. We'll end the game just the way the Giants did.
Yeah.
So I see that.
So the flip of a coin is a 50-50 proposition.
It is whether you're going to win a game or not.
But going for 2 is less than 50-50.
Probably.
I guess if you had to play the percentages, maybe he played the percentages.
Well, it must have. I mean, but then you look at when they got down there on a goal line and they scored, and Keenum goes in and scores that, and actually scores the, I guess, game. Well, it wasn't a game tying because the field or the extra point was a game tying point. But he certainly scored the touchdown that made it all possible to tie the game up. And I'm thinking, well, they looked like they had a few bags of tricks or a bag full of tricks down there on a goal line. I thought, surely O'Connell could have pulled something else out of his pocket there and maybe gotten those 2 points and ended the game right there on a victorious note. But back to your original question, what would be I think obviously the most obvious thing is to end the season, everybody walks off the field the way they walked on the field to play the game, healthy.
Right.
I think that's the one thing. You got a lot of young guys out there. You don't want to see people rehabilitating a knee injury during the off season.
That's right.
That just isn't fun for anybody. And also then, to start your team the next year, you got to know where you are with everybody. Right now, though, as I just told you a while ago when we taped the TV segment for Channel 4, that the team is playing hard. Right. They're trying to win these football games. They're young. I don't think there's enough guys on that team that know what it takes to win. And a lot of times that just comes by accident, if you will. And the accident is, I think anyway, is where you go out and you do the same thing over and over again, i.e., if you're doing what you're asked to do, eventually things start falling your way, and then all of a sudden, I think there's something, and this is what I see in Dwayne Haskins, then you expect things to happen. You kind of almost can will them to happen. I got to believe that New England has been in that mindset for the last 15, 20 years. Well, they play in a weak division to begin with, but I got to say at this point, it's not as weak as what Washington's playing in. But at the same time, you get to a point where you kind of can make what you want to happen, and I think that's a team that knows how to win. They expect to win, and they never really think that they're out of a game. I think it's very insidious, though. Exactly to what degree do guys start checking out? You can't really tell it, but it's just enough, and it's perceptible enough that one team isn't and the other team is, and sometimes, and I think a lot of times, it ends up on the scoreboard.
But that doesn't seem to be the case of what's happened with this football team.
No.
And if you look at it, John, in Carolina they fell behind, Green Bay they fell behind, against Philadelphia they fell behind, against the Giants they fell behind, and so to take your thought and kind of extrapolate on that, falling behind, to me, if you were of the mind to try to go on cruise control, what better time than being behind?
Right.
You got to fight your way back out of a game like that, which has been impressive. It's been really impressive the way this team has hung in. I think, that was Callahan. Callahan came in, he changed the mindset of the team, changed the routine a little bit. I don't think he made a lot of drastic changes, but the accountability he's held the players up to, I think, has worked. I think these guys have a lot of pride. He has appealed to their pride. And in return, someone asked me earlier today, what was the mood in the locker room like compared to what was an angry Callahan after the Philadelphia game? And I thought the mood was much different. I thought Callahan was congratulating his players for giving that effort, telling them how proud he was of them. How much more could he have asked out of that team? And again, the Giants had 3 wins, and so it was a competitive game. It was entertaining because the rosters matched up. But what more could you have asked out of these guys? And so for him, I thought there was a feeling of satisfaction, not the ultimate satisfaction because they didn't win, but the satisfaction that they gave their all. and they've done that under his tutelage.
Yeah, I thought you brought up a good point there, too, because they have fallen behind so many times, and this is the very thing I'm talking about. Teams that really don't have the backbone, that's what I expected a lot of times earlier in the season, that they would completely fall apart and you'd be seeing this just really a lopsided victory. But they've got back into these games and given themselves a chance to win it in. And if nothing else, that's got to be going into the psyche of these guys, knowing that you're never out of a game until you think you're out of a game. And I think they're learning that, and they're learning how to win is what I wanted to say.
Yes, indeed. I would agree with that. Did you know that your Washington Redskins are sponsored by Koch Industries? That's K-O-C-H, Koch. Their 67,000 U.S. employees make a lot of things game day better. Greener turf, they make that. Stronger paper products for tailgating, they make that. Oh, in electronic components in TVs and smart devices, as you can watch a Redskins game anywhere. Yeah, Koch makes that too. See all they make for you and for everyone else on and off the field at KOCHmakesthat.com.
1-866-RIGGLE44. Why am I giving you that information? Well, I think by now, if you've been watching diligently, as I expect you have, to Riggo the Diesel, that's the phone number for O'Connor Plumbing. O'Connor Plumbing is open for business. They will be open for business throughout the holiday season. And, of course, they're open for business during the regular rest of the time, as a lot of people are. But I ask you, if you're not sure who your plumber is, give these guys a try. Give them an opportunity to come into your house and do some stuff for you, and see if you don't gain their trust, or they don't gain your trust. And if they do, you will not go to anybody else. 1-866-RIGGLE44, O'Connor Plumbing, and they wish you all, as well as I do, a very happy holiday.
And one more quick reminder. Score points this holiday season with the holiday games from the Virginia Lottery. The holiday lineup is ready to deliver the kind of fun you expect from lottery games. Winning is fun. For $1, you can play the Naughty or Nice Scratcher. I might need to go check that out, John, because I have a chance to win $1,000 being naughty or nice. One or the other.
You're not going to get. You only got one way to go there.
Yeah,
we know which one it is.
There's all kinds of multipliers, plus the new Virginia's New Year's Millionaire Raffle. And don't forget to play holiday-themed games on your mobile device with Mobile Play. All you need to do is stop by a Virginia Lottery retailer and also get the Virginia Lottery app. Give the gifts of Virginia Lottery holiday games this holiday season.
Hey, I'm bored, I'm broke, and I'm back.
Who's bored? Who's broke? And who's back?
I wanted to always see the redwoods. I wanted to see the Rocky Mountains. I wanted to see the Painted Desert, the Petrified Forest, the Grand Canyon. That was like the land that I always wanted to go to.
John Riggins.
All right, Larry, we might want to just kind of take a little browse around the playoff scenario that's getting ready, because they start in less than 2 weeks, right? Do they start on a Saturday? Does everybody play? No, it's Saturday. They do start on Saturday. So it's 2 weeks from this, or a week from this Saturday. Yeah, coming on.
And you know what?
Hard to believe, isn't it? The season's starting to. We're getting into the postseason. You know,
very hard to believe.
God, this thing is like August. By. We were just here doing preseason, and now.
And you got some surprising teams, I think. I mean, I think you have to say. Although the Ravens, you knew had a good team, you really didn't know that Lamar Jackson would have an MVP year, and he's just been ridiculous. He really hasn't slowed down at all. I mean, really, they are the favorites. New England, always a favorite, I think. Brady's coming back a little bit. In the NFC, I think San Francisco, you knew they'd be good. I think they've surprised me.
For sure, to go to where they are. Now, are they going to be the number one seed throughout the playoffs? Do they get home field?
Well, with the way Seattle crashed and burned against Arizona, and now the report that Marshawn Lynch is visiting because they lost their two starting running backs. They don't have any running backs. Chris Carson hurt his hip. He is out. Procyse, the backup, broke his arm. He is out. And this is a team that's going to the playoffs. So Marshawn Lynch, man, beast mode, is going to have to come back. And I don't know what he's got left. He hadn't played this year. He's probably got a couple games left in him, I guess.
Well, and now they played the last game, right? On Sunday they play.
Yes.
So will it make any difference if Seattle wins the game? I don't think it will, because I think then it gets down to a tiebreaker. They're one game behind, right?
Yes, depends on what happens with San Francisco, and of course New Orleans is 12-3, San Francisco's 12-3. The Packers are 11-3. They got a game to go, And you know what?
And they play Minnesota.
Yes.
And then the winner of that game, will that determine the winner of the division? I think that's right. But
yes, it would. I don't know who gets the tiebreaker there. Right now,
right.
Green Bay is ahead of Minnesota, but they've got one more win, one less loss than Minnesota. So if Minnesota wins that game, that kind of muddies it. But it's amazing that your NFC East is coming down to the Eagles needing to defeat the Giants and the Redskins going to Dallas in a game that Dallas might need to win. If the Eagles are victorious in New York, then the Redskins can knock the Cowboys out of the playoffs with a win.
Yeah, I'm curious, and you being a broadcast guy, you might know the answer to this. Why did they move these 2 1:00 games to 4:20?
Ratings.
Any idea?
Ratings. Well, you got the big markets. You got New York and Philadelphia, and that game is going to draw a big rating because Philadelphia needs to win to get in.
Right.
And then Dallas, obviously, is the Dallas Cowboys, and Washington is the Washington Redskins. That's one of the legendary rivalries. And because of these games going head-to-head. Now, I don't know if one of the games had been at 1 o'clock. Say the Cowboy game was at 1 o'clock. They left that at 1. Then Philadelphia would know what they had to do against the Giants.
Right.
Because if the Cowboys were to lose to the Redskins,
they're in.
Philadelphia's in regardless, right?
Exactly.
And so if Philadelphia loses, so if Philadelphia would play first and they won, then the Cowboys would be eliminated. I think they want those games head-to-head. That's going to drive that viewership in that 4 o'clock time window.
The only thing I think about it is, though, that with all due respect, the NFC East, I think in a lot of people's opinion, is so pitiful. Why are we putting on the NFC East in a nationally televised game?
They are the NFC least right now.
For sure.
But if you think about it, I'd have to see these other matchups that are happening on that day. Maybe these matchups, because all the other things are kind of clinched. It is a division title up for grabs. And by next weekend, I would think all those division titles, I mean, New England has clinched theirs. Baltimore has clinched theirs. I'm pretty sure, San Francisco has clinched theirs. New Orleans has clinched theirs. Between the Packers, if the Packers beat the Vikings, they would have clinched theirs. So, and Houston clinched the AFC South last Saturday.
Right.
So you're looking at that NFC East as being the only division that is still up for grabs, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess.
It is. You know, it's funny, too. I thought that, no, I was going to say a couple years ago, but that's not true. This does remind me of one thing with what's going on here about these games changing times. See, I didn't know this. Somebody told me, but I was completely unaware of it. And you remember 79 when Washington went down to play Dallas?
Yes.
And that was a game in which if Washington would have won the game. They ended up losing. We were up by
Tony Hill beat
13
Lamar Parrish.
points with less than 2 minutes to go. I think.
Yeah, Tony Hill beat Lamar Parrish, right?
But they had to, but there was 13 points. It was like they had to get 2 touchdowns, which they did. But what I was going to say is, what I recall when that game started, that we didn't know what the deal was. I think we went out there, and then it was afterwards that we found out because we lost the game. Now, you would think when you're going for a division title, and the record ended up being 10-6. I can't remember what the Cowboys was. Maybe it was 11-5. But anyway, it turns out that people tell me that we knew before the game that we had to win the game or we would not be in the playoffs because it was a 4:20 game. Chicago had played the St. Louis Cardinals earlier in the day and had beaten them by 31 or 32 points. It was something ridiculous. And that put them in the playoff as a wild card, so that the winner of Dallas and Washington would be no wild card would go there. They would only division title would go to whoever won that game. And I guess we knew going in that we had, but I had no idea. I always thought that we found out afterwards that St. Louis is back in those days, and we knew they would tanked so that we couldn't make the playoffs.
Well, now you can't avoid the information, especially with all the gambling stuff that's out there. Golly, I mean, I was driving at the game on Sunday, just flipping around the satellite radio, and there is I guess it's Brent Musburger's company, and there's a station on satellite that's 100% gambling the whole time, and they talk about the game, setting up the games rat-a-tat-tat, the point spreads and the plus 150s and the minus 200s
it's
and all.
professional grade.
I mean, it is professional.
But I think
grade
Brent's the guy that liked to get to the window, didn't he? I've heard that story.
I believe he does.
I've heard that rumor.
Yeah, and he started this
and
business,
knows it all.
and it's a big, big business in Vegas. And now, this genie is out of the bottle, my friend. I don't know. You're never going to get that back in.
No.
And so I know the
Prohibition.
NFL kind of has taken baby steps along the way to keep the competitiveness of the game and not to really taint the results. And, but you know what? Back to the playoffs. I kind of like San Francisco in the NFC. I think they've got a lot of talent. They've got a good defense. They're a very confident team. But if they've got to travel to New Orleans, that's hard. It's hard to win there. And I don't know how you can bet against Drew Brees. The rest of the teams, you got Philadelphia or Dallas. I mean, neither one of those teams is going to scare you, even though they will host a game.
Well, and you never know. I mean, the weird things happen in the NFL. What I was going to ask earlier, too, was what's the worst record a team has had that actually went into the playoffs?
I think
and
7-9. Oh, and won?
And won the Super Bowl.
Oh, I don't know about
I
that.
know that the Raiders went in one year as a wild card, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't remember what their record was. I don't think it's ever been less than double digit wins, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Like a 9-7 playoff team.
I think maybe the
and
Ravens
won the Super Bowl.
I think maybe the Ravens won the Super Bowl as a wild card. I got to look that up.
As a 9-7, but I'm talking about their record being like 9-7 as a wild card.
Yeah,
and end up winning the Super Bowl.
I mean, I know 8 made the playoffs.
I'd be curious to know.
Yeah.
All right.
Couple things for you. Did you know that you can watch the Redskins on Yahoo Sports or the official Redskins app free on your phone or tablet? Download the official Redskins app today. Geographic and device restrictions apply. Local and primetime games only. Data charges may apply. Also, whether on the field or in the classroom, the Redskins believe learning should be fun. That's why they partner with youth entrepreneurs to bring their engaging hands-on style of learning to classrooms in the D.C. metro area. Youth Entrepreneurs Curriculum was created by educators for educators. That means it's flexible, fun, and absolutely free. To learn more about youth entrepreneurs and how to experience it for yourself, visit getye.org.
Riggins. He's going to go all the way, unless Blackwood can catch him, and he can't.
They left the scoreboard up, and I remember seeing Redskins 27, Dolphins 17. And it was that moment of truth where I went, damn, I'm a world champion.
John, when he walked, he had a little bop to him. And besides that, he had the booty out there. They nicknamed him Chocolate Chip.
Story time with Riggo.
Oh, chocolate chip.
Have you done your Christmas shopping, John? By the way, I'd like to ask you that because you just don't seem. I know last week you said you got to go to the bank to get your Christmas shopping done.
Larry, there's something about it when Christmas rolls around. I told you this last week that I always tell myself, I'm going to do this. If I should start right now on Christmas for next year. And really the hardest part, I think, is trying to figure out what to give somebody. I hate giving, if I'm going to do the gratuitous gift, like a pair of gloves or a muffler or earmuffs or something that's just like, oh, you really put a lot of thought into this.
Coffee mug.
It's almost worse than, coffee mug. It's almost worse than not getting anybody anything. At least I think that way. So if you're going to go that route, just give people cash, okay? And I've been wrestling with this because I'm going, well, what's the deal here? Well, I think a part of it is, particularly when you're talking about friends and maybe more particularly your children, that you give them something for Christmas and they have it for a long time. They always think of you when they have it. I've got a power drill that my dad gave me 40 years ago, I guess, for Christmas.
Yeah.
And every time I use it, I go, I got this for Christmas from my dad. So there is value in this. Unfortunately, I can't see it anymore. My point being is I wrestle with what to get. I never can come up with the right stuff. If I could, I probably could go to the store, go in and get what I want. But that's why I say do it in October, because the other thing that I refuse to do is stand in line to give people money. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I won't do it. It's just not in. I mean, when my kids are involved or my wife, I will do it under those circumstances. This is a little bit different. And the other part of it is the competitive parking. You get into that whole deal, trying to find a parking spot in some place.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. I mean, you got the boar hogs out there that are just waiting to cut you off to get into a place. And, I'm pops now. I can't get out and say, okay, fella, you got to get out of that car sooner or later. Of course, it could be a woman. Then you're screwed completely, right?
That's
That
true.
Ain't gonna,
You're
we ain't going
gonna
to settle
charged.
that. We ain't going to do Wild Wild West on that one. But yeah, I've just kind of sat around and let Christmas come to me, and I think it's going to leave. So I guess I'm going to do what I normally do because I couldn't think of anything. I'm just going to go to the strong box and
You going to pull out some dough?
I'm going to pull out some cash
put
and
it
fill up some envelopes.
You put it in an envelope. Do you put it in a card or just an envelope? Just a
I
regular
think what I'm going to do is write a little letter, a little letter.
That's very thoughtful of you.
And yeah, because you don't want to wait. I get a kick out of, you watch your own children, and my kids are typical kids. There's no question about that. But I kind of feel at times because of the retail rush to the stores and Black Friday, and I'm going, in all honesty, I think we kind of lose sight of what the holiday's all about.
Yeah.
And that's when what we're talking about here, where you write a note, if you're going to give somebody cash, as I am, and you just tell somebody how you feel and so on and so forth. And, I'm going, that's probably more in the Christmas spirit. In fact, maybe I just write the note and I don't put anything else in the envelope.
No money? Come on. Oh, you can't do that.
I knew that would get you.
You said you
attention.
gave me a note for Christmas. That's a biggie.
Not a bank note, just a regular note.
So I thought I had something good because this is the first year because the kids are out of the house, it's the empty nest and all that. And we're not getting them stocking stuffers. I don't even think we got stockings out at our house right now. Our house is just minimal decorations for Christmas. The dogs don't appreciate it anyway, so why do it for them? But I came up with a great idea for my daughter. I found a clay pot that she painted when she was 12 years old, a little pot. And it's got her name on it. It says age 12 on it. You know how the kids do this in their crafts class?
We got that stuff.
So I found this, and I said, you know what? I'm going to clean this thing up. I found it in my garage. I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to get a nice little plant. I'm going to put it in there, and I'm going to give this to my daughter. And so I did it last weekend. I got it. I cleaned it up. I went and got this little fern. It's really cute, and it fits perfect, and I've got it right there. And my wife says, what's that? And I said, I thought this would be kind of cool. It's thoughtful.
Right.
She's going to keep this forever. She made it with her own hands when she was 12. I thought it'd be cool. She goes, that's all you're giving her? And I said, well, isn't the thought that counts? And so she goes, yeah, but, everybody else got something, and you got her a plant. And I said, okay, let me see what I'm going to do. So, I'm going to do today, I'm going to go online, and I'm going to print out a gift certificate, and I'm going to put that in an envelope.
Along with the plan.
She
I
goes,
still think that was a great idea. See, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, where you come up with something unique that somebody went, oh, wow, that's so cool.
You can't buy that in a store?
No.
Yeah,
that is what Christmas is about.
I don't know.
The gift of the Magi, remember?
But you know what? Sometimes the opposite number in your life,
yes,
they're talking about value.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
Cash on
value.
the barrelhead, basically.
Cash on the barrelhead. What can I exchange this for? Well, you can't exchange this plant for anything.
Not really.
No, I mean that's not. It's of no value to anybody but the person who's receiving it. By the way, which is what it's all about.
Exactly.
So we're the same there. I've gotten worse and worse, and I'm not quite a Scrooge yet, but I pay a lot of money during the course of every week, John. I want you to know.
See, I kind of look at it the same way.
I'm putting out a lot of resources
way.
every week to everybody I know in my family. I haven't given Stevie anything yet. I got Stevie a Christmas present. Even though she doesn't celebrate Christmas, she's on my Christmas list.
Well, I think that's the right thing to do. And it is the night before, so we're getting close.
It is.
We're inching close. What do you got going on Christmas Eve? Anything going on at the house?
Nothing. It's going to be quiet. I got to probably figure on maybe some pizza, maybe.
That's good. I think that's what I'm having tonight.
Maybe
Listen,
some pizza.
I got to say, because we might run out of time here, but I'm having a few people over. Now, I didn't realize this, but, I think I told you earlier, I did realize I'm 50% Czech. And in the Czech Republic, they celebrate Christmas by opening their presents the night before. They don't do it in the morning. And when I was a kid, my mom was where the Czech comes from. That's what we used to do. So she was continuing the custom. But now that I'm married and my wife used to do it in the morning, so now on Christmas Eve we invite people over that might like T-Cat's coming over tomorrow night. Yeah,
Is he going solo?
Basically, for all the lonesome losers that don't have any place to go, T-Cat will come over. We'll cheer him up. He does, keep him, put him by the fireplace, give him a nice little eggnog with a little rum in it, and make him nice, pat him on the head, tell him what a good boy he is.
No place is open Christmas Eve.
But we have Well, that's true. And
Right.
we have, like I said, several friends. Dexter, I believe, is going to come over tomorrow night.
Great.
Yeah, so I get to see Dexter.
Great. And Lydia, too?
And Lydia will be with him, so
Great.
we'll, we got like some of the old gang getting back together,
That's
so that's
great.
what we're going to do. Yeah.
I think that's a great little tradition you got
Yeah.
there, and I wish I had thought of that. I'd have some people over.
Well,
gonna
it's
be
never
kind
too
of
late to
fun.
start. You got something.
Yeah, but we got the
together?
breakfast crew coming over on Christmas morning. We have the breakfast detail with all the different trips that this family has to take. So they'll be over.
So you'll have to do a lot of focusing tomorrow night. Probably, very pensive. Maybe kind of get yourself in that right frame of mind, and
just
and
drink
maybe
some clear liquid, and I'll be fine.
I was going to say maybe the goose will fly by
Yes.
somewhere, and you'll shoot it down and
That's
fill
right.
your glass.
Yeah, I think that is in order. John, Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Thank you, Larry, and Merry Christmas to you. And I guess Merry Christmas to Stevie, and/or Happy Hanukkah, and/or Happy Kwanzaa. I don't know which one it is. There probably is a fourth one, but we'll figure that out next year.
All the best.
You got it. Pick up the pace just a little. Thank you, ma'am. All right, folks, everyone, calm down. We're just looking for a spot. Oh, we might have a winner. Row 4, third down on the left, and he rounds the corner. Oh, why? Why are tiny cars allowed in regulation-sized spots?
You could lap the mall parking lot for an 8th time, or avoid the stress and give the gift of holiday scratchers from the Virginia Lottery.
And now, time for another Honda highlight. The air was cold, but the deals were heating up at the Happy Honda Days sales event. With the entire versatile roster on clearance, all signs pointed to victory. Turbocharged tandems like the Accord and Civic, or all-wheel drive SUVs like the CR-V, HR-V, Pilot, and Passport. With clearance pricing, everyone's a champion.
Have your own Honda highlight with a clearance deal during the Happy Honda Days sales event. Now at your local Honda dealer.
Locally owned Novec has competitive rates and some of the highest customer satisfaction ratings among electric utilities in Virginia. Novec members are receiving more than $4 million in cashback credits in December, and they enjoy the most reliable power in the region. Novec is growing its renewable energy supply, including more solar. Novec, power you can trust.
Redskins fans, this is Darryl Green. After 20 years of being privileged to don the burgundy and gold on the football field, I've added another team's colors to my collection. For the past 16 years, I proudly adopted the green and blue of Main Street Bank. Whether I'm using their simple-to-use mobile banking or dealing with their incredibly helpful staff, Main Street Bank always makes things easy for me and all of their customers. To find out all the ways they can help you, visit us at mstreetbank.com, member FDIC.